Hi, I'm Cynthia Givens with First Coast School of Real Estate, and I am coming to you today as Education Director to give you some information about successful exam taking strategies. As a school, we want you to be successful in your efforts of becoming a licensed real estate agent here in the state of Florida. So I'm going to go over some test taking strategies that can help you with the day of the exam. So I will be looking down at my book. I got a couple of things noted that I want to cover, but following some of these strategies will significantly increase your abilities during your test taking day. Okay, so what I want to do is to help you master your strategy for success in taking the Florida State real estate exam. Okay, so we want to achieve a specific goal of a pass. Yay, I am now a licensee. So the process, the state license exam process, you must go ahead and do your application. I know this was covered within the 63-hour course, but sometimes because there's so much information thrown at you, people forget to go do that part. So you must do your fingerprints, your background. The state is going to give you an exam eligible in the login that you have for DBPR, which is going to send your information over to Pearson VUE. You'll be able to then schedule your real estate exam with Pearson VUE. So if you don't have the information, you can call Pearson VUE customer care at 1-888-204-6230. They're open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Also Sundays from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would suggest that you contact them at least 5 days prior to your desired exam date. Okay, so you need to create an account with Pearson VUE. You can go to their website once you have your exam eligible from DBPR or Department of Business and Professional Regulations, and then you will be able to schedule your exam. And again, as suggested, I would tell you to do it at least 5 days prior to the day that you would like to take your examination. Now, question, what do I bring on the day of examination? Well, bring yourself. Bring a clear mind. As far as your test date, I would tell you to arrive about 30 minutes prior to, just in case there is a line of people that are also testing, because at Pearson VUE, you can test for anything in the state of Florida. So you might have someone sitting next to you taking a exam for a job, a typing test, any type of testing is done there. It's not just for real estate licensees. So make sure you come 30 minutes early, bring your signature forms, 2 forms of signature ID. You're going to need to show up with your pass slip from the school that you took your classes at, whether you did it online or you did it face-to-face. They should have sent you a pass certificate so that you can present that at Pearson VUE, because they will not let you test without it. Okay? Then I would tell you to bring a quiet calculator. When I'm instructing, I tell my students to go get you a Dollar Tree, Dollar Store calculator, no functions. They're not going to let you take any financial calculators or anything in there. It's going to have to be the simplest form of a calculator for you to take with you in there. Now, they do have lockers set up so you can put your purse or what have you in your locker. Phones will be turned off, not put on silent, turned off. I always recommend, if you can leave that stuff in the car, lock it in your car, in your trunk or something, so that that's not even something that's on your mind when you go in there. Just go in there with your calculator, your 2 forms of ID, and your pass slip. That makes it simple, stress-free, and then they will provide you with a dry erase board and dry erase marker to make notes on, so you don't have to worry about that. Now, this is going to be a computer-based exam. So if you are not familiar with taking computer-based exams, then you are going to be sitting there for 3.5 hours taking this computer-based exam. I would tell you to read over every question 3 times to ensure that you understand what they're actually asking in the question. One word can change what that question is asking you. So make sure you read it 3 times, okay? Now, let's see. They provide a computer, so you don't have to worry about that. They will let you know how to use the computer. They actually have a test, not a test. When you get ready to take your exam, it gives you the opportunity to do a test question so that you know how everything works, so that sitting for 3.5 hours, you're not doing it incorrectly, okay? Now, there is a order to the test questions. So there are 3 broad categories that are made up for your exam, and that is going to be for your laws, your principles and practices, and your math. A lot of people get stressed out about the math. The math will consist of your last 10 questions, plus their math questions sprinkled out throughout the course. So the questions are in no particular order. They're not arranged from easy to difficult. You're just going to get random questions. In the state of Florida, they have about 10,000 questions they can throw at you. No rhyme or reason to them. We do know that the last 10 questions are contributed to the closing disclosure. So you're going to be calculating taxes and all that stuff. And that's something that we do know, but they do sprinkle those questions. You can get beginning 10 hard questions, go to easy questions, to back to hard questions, back to easy questions, or you can get 10, 15 easy questions, and then they get hard, and then they get easy, or they just fluctuate back and forth. So there's no rhyme or reason to the order of your questions, but they are going to cover those 3 categories of law, principles and practices, and math, okay? Now, to prepare for success, you need to study to increase your knowledge of each subject. They will highly test in law. You need to know what you can and cannot do in this business. So you need to study. So whatever materials, whatever highlights or points that your educator provided to you, you need to utilize that to study for your exam, okay? What the test consists of, or the Florida Real Estate Commission, is to ensure that you have mastered the real estate law, principles and practices, and math. So they want to make sure that you know real estate law, principles and practices, and how to calculate your taxes and your rent prorations and acreage. They want to know that you know that there are 43,560 square feet in an acre. They want to ensure that you know stuff like that, just in case that comes up and you need to calculate something, okay? Now, going into your exam, the most important thing you can do going into your exam is have a positive attitude. Attitude is everything. So if you get up and you're humdrum, and oh my God, and you're worrisome, that is just going to take you out of your head. And we need your head space to be in a positive light for this exam, because this is a major exam and you're going to be there 3.5 hours. So the research shows that optimists do better than pessimists in classes, on exams, and at work. So let's be optimistic that you have studied enough, you have gained enough knowledge and mastered the subjects that you can walk out of there with a license, okay? So the night before your exam, Put yourself in a positive frame of mind. Don't think about any negative thoughts. Don't let any negative energies come at you. Your focus is, I'm going to sleep tonight. I'm going to get some rest. I'm going to take my exam tomorrow. I'm going to walk out of there with a pass slip. So don't think about, I don't think I'm ready. Don't think about, I don't think I'll pass. Don't put those negative thoughts in your head, because they're self-defeating and can contribute to failure. If you're positive, it helps relax you. All the knowledge can come back to the forefront so that you can answer the questions. And remember, read the question 3 times, okay? Now, if you have too much anxiety, this can seriously interfere with your ability to succeed in this exam. And my example is, I taught a class. I had a student that when we reviewed for the exam, she knew all the answers, but she has test anxiety. So when she came the next day to take her test, she had so much anxiety that she was shaking. She started sweating. And I'm just like, getting nose to nose with her. Calm down. Breathe. Get up and walk around. And she knew all the answers to the review. She did horribly on her exam. She failed it twice because she couldn't get out of her head. She couldn't push past the anxiety, and she knew the information. I felt really bad because I knew she knew the information, but I can't take the test for her. I can't do an oral test with you, because when you take your state exam, you are sitting in an environment taking a computer-based exam. You got to be able to sit, be positive, breathe through it, and calm yourself down so that you can maneuver throughout the exam, okay? So let's make sure we have a positive attitude. Now, a little bit of anxiety can be good for test taking, but too much anxiety can completely interfere with you being able to think and bring all that knowledge back to the forefront, okay? So you need to acknowledge that there are easy and there are difficult questions. And it's okay. Don't panic. If you draw a blank, don't panic. You have the opportunity to click to review that question. Move on. Don't spend too much time on a difficult question, because you might need that time at the end of your exam. So we want to control your anxiety. Remember, some pre-exam anxiety is normal. It sharpens your senses and gets your adrenaline flowing. But you got to be able to breathe, okay? Now, if in the middle of the course, or in the middle of your exam, you get tense, your stress is taking over, you need to use relaxation techniques to reduce the effects of the tenseness. So move your muscles. And I've done this when I took my exam. I did the shaking, I did you do stuff with your arms, let your arms hang by your side. You do all that and you shake and rotate and you relax with a sigh. Take deep breaths and hold them in for 1 or 2 seconds. You shake it off and get back focused. Me personally, when I've gotten too many difficult questions, I take a break. I go to the bathroom, splash some water on my face. I'm like, get back in the game. Get back focused. I do this to myself. And then I go back and sit down. Get back focused. You do what you need to do to not let anxiety take you out of passing your exam, okay? So the next thing that we need to talk about, budget your time. Critical to budget your time. You don't want to be rushed and you don't want to run out of time because you want to pass your exam the first time, okay? So your allotted time again is 3.5 hours, and you must use that time wisely. Make sure, like they say, a carpenter measures twice, cut once. So what did I say before? Read your questions 3 times so you know exactly what they're asking, and you just answer one time, move on to the next question, okay? So there is a useful technique for planning your test taking time. It's to set a mental halfway point. So you're at 3.5 hours. Okay, well, by an hour and a half, you want to mentally be halfway through your exam. There are 100 questions. So by an hour and a half, you want to be at around question 50, 55. That means that you're budgeting your time wisely because you're halfway through at almost the halfway mark of your time. Keep track of the passing time. Don't focus too much on the time, but keep track on it. They will have a counter. You can have a counter there where you can see it, or you can hide it. Me personally, I don't want to see the counter. The counter messes with my mind. The counter messes with my anxiety. Periodically, I will click it so I can see, oh, I'm an hour in. Oh, I'm at question 40. I'm good on time. And I make it go away. You can do that with the testing system, okay? Now, pre-plan. This is where that 100-question practice exam in your book comes in, because you can kind of time yourself. And I always suggest, don't write in your book when it comes to your exam, end of course exams, or your end of unit exam. Write on a piece of paper so that you can take it multiple times and you can time yourself. Now you're not writing in your book so you can tell what you got wrong. You go back and get the knowledge of what you got wrong, and then you take the test again. So if you go out there and do the practice exam in the book, the 100 questions, you can gauge your time and how long it takes for you to get through those 100 questions, okay? Don't leave any questions unanswered. Your unanswered questions are not going to be counted against you. They just want to be counted. And you would rather have the opportunity to answer, because even if you don't know the answer and you guess, it gives you a chance to get it right. But if you don't answer, you are 100% going to get it wrong, okay? Now, everybody has their own personal strategy for how to pass this exam. And that's awesome. These are some guides to help you. Now, there's some different terminology that I want to make sure that I will probably do prior to each unit. I'll go over terminology, and then we'll go over what's in the unit that you need to focus on. Because if you don't know the terminology, how do you answer the question? So we need to make sure that you know the terminology so that you can read the question, then read the question, then read the question, and then answer, okay? Now, as far as your math, read the math exam and then make a mental estimate of your answer. Read it 3 times and then mentally be like, oh, well, you calculate in your head, this is what I think it should be. So you can eliminate wrong answers. So typically the incorrect answer choices are the results of mistakes, like reversing the division in the divisor, or failing to carry the math calculation to the next step, or failing to convert your decimal or your inches into feet. Those are little mistakes. Guess what? You're going to have choices for those. They know what the common mistake is. They're going to give you answers for the common mistake when it comes to the math. So you need to make sure mentally you know how big a number should be before you do the calculation. So if you make those mistakes, you immediately say, that's wrong, that's wrong. There's no way it could be that answer. Now you're down to maybe 2 options, okay? Now, When you're reading the questions, you need to know what you're reading. You need to be able to understand what you're reading. So the meaning of a question, if you don't understand it, makes it harder for you to answer. So we want to make sure, for example, if your question asks you about a deed, you need to know a deed is defined as this, or how do I define a deed, or how do you find a deed term? You need to know what a deed is so that you can flip the question to make sense for you to be able to answer it. Now, if you come up on any foreign questions, and that's one or two questions that are written in foreign language that you've never seen or heard, because you could have been zoned out that day in class, or you could have read over it and you really didn't absorb what that term meant, then you need to do process of elimination to figure out what the answer is. Don't get there and get stuck on, oh my God, I don't know what this means. Look at the choices of the answer, look at the context of the question, and do process of elimination. Okay? Now, there are questions that you're going to have a wrong answer, you're going to have a so-so right answer, you're going to have a right answer, and then you're going to have your best answer. Most of them are going to want the best answer. So figure out your processes of elimination where you look at an answer like, that's definitely wrong. Be like, that's kind of borderline. And be like, oh, but this one is right. Oh, but this one is more right. Go with the more right answer, because that's what they're looking for, the best right answer. Okay? Now, let's see. Guessing. No penalty for guessing. We talked about this earlier. And it's not counted as the wrong answer, but it does take away from your right answers, and you need 75 right answers to pass your exam. So don't leave one on the table because you skipped it and forgot to go back and it's definitely wrong. It's okay, do process of elimination and then do the best guess. Okay? Improving your odds. So when you don't have a clue, like I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue what they're asking me. I don't have a clue what the answer could possibly be. I'm looking at these 4 choices and none of them make sense to me. So don't throw out here and say, let me just mentally flip a coin. Heads or tails, that's what I'll choose. Don't do that. Remember, the correct answer to every question is right in front of you. Do a process of elimination. If you see that that's definitely wrong, you just went from 100% to 75%. Now you got a 33% chance of getting the question right. Do another process of elimination. Like, that kind of don't sound right. Eliminate that answer. Now you got a 50-50 chance of getting the question right. Improve your odds. Read the question 3 times, eliminate the wrong one. Eliminate the next one that don't make sense. And then you got a 50-50 chance of getting the question right. Okay? Ignore some of the answers. Some of the common errors are often used as incorrect choices. They're distractors. So to prevent you from having question anxiety, try not reading the 4 choices while reading the question. Read the question, and then read the question, and then read the question again. What is that? 3 times. Read the question 3 times, and then look at your choices or answers. Like, oh, nope, that's absolutely wrong. Now you got 33% chance of getting it right. You're like, oh, nope, that doesn't sound right. Now you got a 50-50 chance of getting it right. Don't let the distractors fool you. One word change in a question changes the whole question. Okay? So, I think I'm just looking over my notes. Oh, when you're done. As soon as you're finished, you hit the done button. It asks you again, are you sure you're done? Because when you hit the done button, you're done. And it calculates your answers. And by the time you gather all your stuff, and you go, I finished the test within a lot of time. When you walk out the door, they hand you your results. You will find out immediately whether you pass or fail. Now, when you pass, we're going to be, yay, happy, happy, joy, joy. It'll say pass. Nice little cute picture that you take when you first walk in. Now, if for some unforeseen reason you do not pass and you get a fail, it would break down the areas where you did not pass. So you'll know what to go study. It's not the end of the world if you don't pass, because then you get a synopsis of where you were mentally and what areas you need to go focus on again. And you come right back in and take it again. Okay? Now, don't forget, when you schedule your exam, it's preferred that you are studying a couple of weeks before your exam. If not, give yourself at least 5 days to review. Don't try and go in there and say, oh, I'm going to take my exam at 3 p.m. I can cram that morning. That's going to mess you up. Don't do that. If you know it, you know it. It's as simple as that. Either you know it or you don't know it. So don't do the I'm going to cram all the way until I walk into the door, because now you just jumbling up stuff. Make sure that you give yourself a lot of time to thoroughly study. Get rest the night before. Go to sleep with a positive attitude that I got this. Wake up the next morning, positive attitude, I got this. Have breakfast. Don't overeat, but have food in your belly, because you're going to be there for 3.5 hours. Walk in there with the confidence, no cramming, because you know what you know what you know. And then go take your exam. Get your results, and now you're real estate licensing, or I need to go back and I need to study this area a little bit more. Okay? So thank you for watching. Please be on the lookout. We're going to go over each unit, but I want to give you some strategy tips for being able to take your test. And I look forward to seeing you over in Unit 1. We're going to go over, let's see, we're going over license law. So thank you again.